Welcome to the T. Allen Haynes Radio Show. Conversations with elite business leaders from around the world. And now, here is your host, T. Allen Haynes.
Welcome back to the show. We've got a great guest for you today. Scott Hansen helps business owners increase sales, double revenues, break through barriers, and become high performers in their business. His work has been seen in Entrepreneur Magazine, NBC, Fox, CBS, and Forbes, and Inc. and Business Innovators. He is also a nationally recognized speaker, best-selling author, and the host of one of the top business entrepreneurial podcasts on iTunes that's listened to in multiple countries. In addition, Six Figure Coach magazine has labeled Scott as one of the top business coaches in the country to follow. Welcome to the show, Scott.
It is great to be here, T. Hope all is well with you as well.
Oh, awesome. You know, we're pretty excited to have you again on the show. You're a repeat guest. It's been about 4 years, I think, having you, but you've got a lot of great things going on. But let's start off with describe the clients and the type of businesses that you're working with.
Yeah, so for the last 5 years, going on 6 years now, I've been able to help a lot of small business owners increase revenue and grow profits within their traditional businesses. I say traditional businesses because we don't do a lot of coaching around the e-commerce world or the actual retail storefront world. However, we pretty much work with every other type of business. I like to say that we're pretty agnostic when it comes to helping our business owner clients. Usually the target audience is anybody that's doing $500,000 per year in gross revenue, all the way up to 10+ million per year in gross revenue.
Awesome. So these businesses are actually, does every business need leads or needs, referrals and things like that? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, it's exactly. So really what we do is we help them position their business for growth. And I say position because really when I start working with our business owner clients, it's all about thinking differently about the opportunities. So to answer your question, yes, every business needs new leads for the most part, although I did have one person a few years ago tell me I don't need any more leads and I don't need any more business. And I was pretty shocked with that. I said, okay, we're not going to be a good fit, but congrats on that.
Right.
But it's really in the way I say, I played a lot of sports growing up, and I like to use a lot of analogies that are sports related. And really, when it comes to helping a business owner grow, it's like owning a sports team. You have to have the right pieces and the right people in place in order for executing on the plays that are called, and then everybody has to do their job along the way. The issue is most business owners don't have a blueprint, they don't have a playbook, and they just kind of wing it. And they realize after a few years that winging it might have been able to get us where we're at today, but it absolutely won't allow us to scale in the long term.
Excellent. I know you and I met in Houston about 4 years ago, and you run a successful podcast called The Success Hackers. But give us a little about how you got started in this business.
Yeah, good memory. Yeah, had the opportunity to see you in action, which was great, and obviously develop a relationship both personally and professionally. So it's good to be back on your show. And I got into this business because I was, prior to coaching for about 19 years, I was in the sales and sales leadership space and working for corporations. And although I had success in my roles, I just knew that there was something missing. And I call it the nudge from above. And I would continue to get the nudge from above, and that nudge, I wasn't exactly sure what that nudge was supposed to be for, or what it really meant. But at the end of the day, it just kept nudging me. And as I progressed throughout my career, I noticed that nudge was getting more prominent and more prominent. And I always wanted to add massive value to people's businesses and people's lives. And I just didn't know how to do that. As I got into coaching and as I started to read coaching books and success books, and everybody, all the successful people that I've ever read about all said that they got to their success because they hired a coach or they worked with a coach. And as I read up on what a coach does or what a coach should do, I got really excited. For the first time in my life, I got super fired up and super passionate about this thing called coaching, or the possibility of coaching. Mm. So as I came out of the corporate space, a mentor of mine said to me, well, there's a lot of coaches out there. How do you plan to stand apart from everybody else? And really, without even hesitating, because of my experience, I said, well, I'm good at what I do, and I bring a lot to the table. And he looked at me, kind of slanted his head a little bit to the side and said, yeah, that's not good enough. And then he walked away. And then he walked away. And I said, oh my God, I guess, I could have been really upset, and thank you for being such an awesome, inspirational mentor. Or I could have really took what he said and applied it, which I did. And it's the same mentality that I coach our business clients on, which is you have to think differently from the competition. How do you stand apart from the competition? Mm-hmm. And so what I personally did, T, was I took what he said to heart, and I said, how do I position myself maybe a little bit differently from everybody else? So I came up with this thing called a podcast, and I was just begging people to come on my show, everybody who's an entrepreneur and business owner, to come on the Success Hackers podcast. Well, we're very fortunate 5 years later, and we have listeners in over 18 countries, and we now have 500,000 downloads on iTunes, and all kinds of reviews and ratings. But I had to start somehow. And in addition to that, I also have, this will be now my second book. I also write for Entrepreneur Magazine, and I also speak both locally and nationally. So I share that with everybody simply to say that I didn't do this I'm not telling you this to be braggadocious, but I'm basically taking my own medicine, and I'm basically heeding my own advice to say, when someone introduces me at an event, and they can introduce me of where my work has been seen and from an authority play, rather than just, here's business coach Scott Hansen, come on up to the stage, it's a completely different level of listenership. It's a completely different way of reaching my audience, because when you have that authority behind your name or your business, the listening is a little bit different.
Absolutely. And that was probably the best thing that coach could have told you.
Yeah, the hard knocks.
Yeah, he lit that fire under you, and it reminds me, last night, I don't watch much TV, but I like America's Got Talent. And there was a guy on there last night that he performed, and the guy said, it wasn't your best. And he said, well, wait a minute, let me do one more thing. And he did one more thing and just blew him out of the water. He said, see, I told you, you didn't give me your best.
Right.
So
right.
Great. Thanks for sharing that with us.
Yeah, thanks. Absolutely.
What, man, you talked to lots and lots of people, and you met lots of prominent entrepreneurs, but is there one that stands out, entrepreneurs?
It's interesting. I think that whenever you speak, I don't know if there's an entrepreneur per se that sticks out, because now I've had the pleasure of interviewing close to 135 of them over the last several years. However, I will say that the ones that, when I interviewed, you can just tell whether or not they have their own playbook or blueprint in their business. The ones that have their own playbook or their own blueprint in their own business, they have the most clarity about not only their business, but also who they serve and the results that they bring for their clients. The ones that are doing the biggest things, on the sharing, speaking on the biggest stages, or being interviewed on TV, or having their own show or whatnot, they're always the ones that, number one, they have the most clarity. Number two, they have a blueprint for success. And number three, they don't get too emotionally attached to their business. So although that's not easy to do, the ones that create the most wealth in business are the individuals that again don't get really emotional about their business. They realize it's just a business. It's a way for them to create an income stream, and they position it properly in the beginning with the right foundation, so that if they choose to sell it later on, it's sellable because it has all the right processes, the right procedures, and the right efficiencies in place.
Nice. So, obviously I feel your passion, Scott. I mean, it was obvious from the day that I met you, but what is it that gets you up every day to do what you're doing?
Well, I kind of shared earlier that it took me a very long time in life to find my purpose and my passion. I wasn't one of those individuals that found it early at the age of 15 or 20 or even 30. I found it, into my late 30s. And I was always on the search to find out what really made Scott tick. What was the thing that's really going to get me excited? And like I mentioned before, I'm a big advocate of the personal growth industry or the personal development industry. And have always been. And I spent many years going to Barnes and Noble at the time and just reading success books and reading mindset books and reading psychology books and figuring out and finding out that the one word that would continue to come up over and over and over and over again for those people that have created the most wealth and the most success for themselves is that they found their passion, they found their purpose. So for me, getting out of bed every day, knowing that I found that purpose, knowing that I truly, truly care and want to serve more people at a higher level, that's what gets me fired up. I know that there's a lot of people out there that could use help. There's a lot of people out there that can use some coaching or some mentorship, just some guidance or accountability. And that's all they need. They need someone to put, kind of hold their feet to the fire. Whether it's just simply calling them or texting them to say, did you do that? Or whether it's having a full-blown coaching plan and having the blueprint on how to go from A to Z or from where they're at existing to where they really want to be. One of the things that charges me up is when I work with each and every client, the first thing that I ask them is, what does success look like for you? And, you'd be surprised at their answer, which is, most people have never been asked that question before in their life. Mm-hmm. So they start their business, however it is that they start their business, they put their head down and they don't look up. And they don't know what success is. They don't know how many customers they really want. They don't know how much revenue they really, really want in their business. They don't know how much they want in the bank. Right? So when we start working together, I'm all about thinking big and thinking bigger than what's currently possible. Because once you start to put a big, what I call a BHAG, very big, hairy, audacious goal out in front of someone, it not only scares the hell out of them, but it also excites the hell out of them. And when you get that, what excites me the most about that is being able to inspire and educate people on how to create more wealth for themselves and in their business.
Nice. So people get this idea that they want to start a business and, they've got these grand thoughts. What are you finding to be the biggest misconception of people that start a business?
I think one of the biggest misconceptions is, number one, not realizing that it's going to take more money and more time to get to where they want to get to. So I think that they undervalue time, and they, undervalue the money, or they don't plan. They don't have enough in planning when it comes to, what it's going to take me and how long it could take me. Number one. Number two is the why behind the what. The why behind the what. Why is it that you're starting this business? What do you want to accomplish? And then start tying the why behind that. Whatever cause that they want. And there's no wrong answer in these questions, but it's getting crystal clear about the why. Because once you get crystal clear about the why, there's going to be days that you want to quit. And you and I both know. But what gets most people out of that funk is their big vision of what they want to have achieved. What if they were to take money out of the equation, meaning rather than say, I want to make $1 million this year or $10 million this year, imagine if you can say, I want to make $10 million this year in my business, and that will allow me to feed X amount of young children who are starving. Or if I can make $10 million in my business this year, this will allow me to, open up certain, start different camps or water filtration systems in another country. Like big vision stuff. So it's not just about the here and now, but it's also about creating success for your long-term vision. So I think having a plan, having the why behind the what is really important. Understanding that it's going to take longer than you think, and it's probably going to take some more money than you think. And then lastly, I would say, as a piece of advice to anybody who is either, it doesn't matter whether you're just starting or you've been in business for 10 or 15 years, whether it's me or someone else, I would absolutely suggest that you either hire a coach or you work with a mentor, because that coach or that mentor might shave off 5 or 10 years off of your business life. So the same person that doesn't work with a coach, it might take them 5 or 10 years to reach the same goal or the same number or the same accountability or the same revenue as it did someone else. Not to mention the X factor is really this. So if you work with a coach, if you work with a strategist, if you work with a mentor, even though it's going to cost you maybe some more money than you even have, frankly, something happens from a universal standpoint when you actually have skin in the game, when you actually have put money down or a credit card down for coaching services, maybe money you don't even have. You pay more attention, you're more focused, and you're ready to take action. So those are the things that I see, and those are the things, frankly, that I would suggest is, get with a mentor sooner than you think. Find a coach sooner than you think, because, I've been fortunate enough to help, dozens and dozens and dozens of business owners, reach success in a fairly short period of time. And these were the same people that never worked with a coach before. But as we started to work together and they put, they stepped into faith, great things were able to happen for their business.
Are you finding that some of the business owners are not familiar with having a coach or what the benefits are?
I think that like anything in life, they hear things through their friends or through the people at their country clubs, and maybe one of their friends or colleagues or family members worked with someone and had a great result. So they have a good taste in their mouth when they talk about it to this individual you're talking about, the business owner. So the business owner is maybe they're a little bit more open to the conversation. Conversely, there might be some bad experiences, that someone might have had a bad experience with a coach, or frankly, at the end of the day, bad experience can mean I paid X amount of dollars and I, as the business owner, didn't take action. What's interesting about coaching is that it's the ultimate mirror test when working with a coach. And what I mean by that is there's nowhere to hide, right? A good coach is someone that's going to lift you up when you need to be lifted up, but also is going to be told you how it is. He or she is going to tell you maybe not necessarily what you need to hear, or not necessarily what you want to hear, but maybe it's something that you need to hear. A good coach is someone that's going to have your best interest in mind, your goals in mind, your vision in mind, and will do whatever it takes to help you get there. I believe when people work with me, that's the first thing that they notice is my passion around helping them at whatever it takes. Had several times when a business owner would have worked with a coach in the past, a completely different coach, and then they come over to, start working with me because they got referred by a current client of mine. And I'll hear things like, well, this coach was really nice and they're very passive and super, super friendly, but, we didn't get a lot of results working with them. So, I'm of the belief that, it's time to pick people, when it's time to pick people up and give them praise. There's a lot of praise that I give in my coaching, but there's also times when it's my responsibility to hold themselves accountable to get to that new level of success.
Awesome. Great response. So share with us a success story on how you've helped someone turn it around or get them from point A to point B. Yeah. So there's been quite several, but I'll share one with you that has recently happened last year. And I was working with a general contracting client for about 2 years. And this individual was doing a couple $100,000 in gross revenue. And we started to work together, and I started to help him position his business a little bit differently. I started to help him think differently about possibilities that he couldn't see. We started to put together a sales process. We started to put together a conversion rate process, meaning how do we convert prospects into clients at a higher level, at a higher clip, at a more successful clip. We started to map out who should be the A players that he should interview and ultimately hire for his team. So it was a completely different way of thinking, and then of course acting as a business owner. So we started to put processes and systems in place to help him achieve those goals. Happy to report that after working together for 2 years, a little over 2 years, we helped him his business hit the Inc. 5000 list of one of the fastest growing private companies in the country. Nice. Congratulations. Thank you. So then we threw a party for that. We were able to celebrate and throw a party with that and all that. And I'm a big believer in you have to get attention. If you can't get attention in your business, you won't be in business for 3 years. Oh, sure. Oh, yeah. So, well, you know what I teach, so yeah, it's all about you got to celebrate, and every small milestone is a celebration for sure. Absolutely. I'm a business owner. I'm doing a couple $100,000 to $500,000 in revenue. What would be the most important thing I should think about if I want to, say, get to the $1 million level? You have to start thinking differently about your business. So rather than think of yourself as a $500,000 business owner, you have to start thinking about yourself as a $5 million business owner or more. When you ask yourself this main question, is what I'm doing right now throughout my day, is what I'm doing right now sitting here, is this activity helping me grow to 10 million? Is this one activity helping me grow to 10 million? Most of the time, the answer will be no. So number one, we have to understand that 90% of a business owner's week is spent working in the business. So the only way someone can scale a business is for that business owner to focus on working on the business.
Now, you still, as a smaller business owner, you still might have to work on or in the business for sure. But it's been proven, and I've not only has this been proven, and I think I read about this on Forbes magazine, but I've also proven it in my own coaching business, where most business owners are spending 90% of their time working in the business. So one of the tweaks that we make, one of the shifts that we do is I have them for homework, I give them an exercise. And I say, what's your 5-day snapshot? So I ask them from Monday, starting at 7 a.m., right, Monday through Friday from 7 to 6 or 8 to 6, I help them it's almost like creating a food journal. I help them. I have them every 30 minutes write in what they did for that day. So 8 to 8:30, 8:30 to 9, 9 to 9:30, 9:30 to 10, etc., all the way to 6 o'clock. I don't care what you do in your personal life. Well, what we have found over the years is that statistic is absolutely spot on. It's absolutely true. So the very first thing we help them with is the realization that they are working too much in their business. And then we have to define what does it mean to work on your business. So working on your business, and I explain a lot of these things in my new book, The Blueprint. We talk about what does it mean to work on your business? What are the activities? So we get crystal clear about what those activities are. And then we start to put together a playbook or a blueprint around that. So how do we define your target market? What does that look like? Let's get clear on that. And then how do we stand apart from everybody else? If you're a chiropractor and you're coming across saying the exact same words as the next chiropractor, the problem with that is you look and sound like everybody else. Same thing with any other business. If you're a general contractor saying that we're a family-owned business and we've been in business for 100 years, we're a full-service company, and we're good people, in the marketing space, that's called platitudes and jargons. Well, you're never going to stand apart from your competition when you're just throwing out platitudes and jargons. On the flip side to that is the ability to position your business to stand apart. How do you do that? You have to have very effective, if you do networking events, if you do marketing, if you do advertising, your marketing, your elevator pitch must speak to the hot buttons, must speak to the language of your prospects. What's their pain points? What keeps them up at night? When you really get this and you start to understand the importance of whether it's a 30-second elevator pitch at a BNI, or whether it's in front of a group that you're speaking to, or whether it's an advertisement in your local newspaper, it's all the same. And if you can speak the language of your prospects and get them to take action, you're already setting yourself up for success and setting yourself up differently than everybody else.
Perfect. So speaking of your book, congratulations on your new book coming out, The Blueprint. So tell us a little bit about that.
So one of the things that we have found when coaching with business owner clients over the last several years is that they're doing a lot of stuff, but they're actually doing too much. So we found that business owners are actually doing too much when it comes to operating their business. They think that if I multitask, that means I'm getting more done. That means if I'm doing more activities, if I have a lot of appointments or a lot of ink on my calendar, that must mean that I'm accomplishing a lot of things. And I always say that busy does not equal productive. Busy does not equal productive. So that means we have to define busy does not equal productive. What does productive mean? And as a business owner, there are certain rules and there are certain steps to follow. So I created this book because most business owners don't have a blueprint. Think about it like this: if you wanted to build a house, and you met with an architect, and the architect started just talking about what's possible, rather than showing you an actual print, a blueprint, you would run fast. So, just like an architect needs a blueprint to build to build a house. Business owners need a blueprint to build a successful business. It's the same thing in the sports world. This is why you see on the sidelines NFL coaches all these different colors and all these different schematics on their 1-sheet or 2-sheet playbook. It's no different than a business owner. So we really had we've spent some time laying down exactly what the steps are in their business and the reason why they're important. And I give at the end of each chapter, I give a coaching story, a real coaching story that has taken place from some of my clients. So it's a very quick read. It's a very easy read, but it's one of those things that I believe that business owners will get a ton of value from because it will be their go-to checklist of things that I need to do in my business.
Perfect. Yeah, I've looked at it, and yes, it's very, very step by step, and should be a great educational piece for business owners, trying to get to the next level. So congratulations on that.
Thank you. So, appreciate that.
I'm sure some of the listeners were thinking about how can they find out more about you and possibly have you coach them? What do they need to do?
Yeah, I would say a couple things. Number one, they can go to my website. They can just go to scotthansenconsulting.com, Hansen, Scott Hansen consulting.com. They'll find out, certain business speaking topics that I've spoken on and groups that I've spoken to, but also some videos. I have some free content on the website for helping business owners achieve success. And if they want to get in touch with me, they can email me. My email is Scott, SCOTT, at ScottHProductions.com. So Scott at ScottHProductions.com. It's Scott H as in my first name is Scott, last name is Hansen. So Scott at ScottHProductions.com. And, I always tell people there's never a hard sell when working with me. You either need help and you need help and you're tired of playing small and you're ready to go bigger and you're ready, or you're not. That's, either way is fine. Anytime I sit down with someone and we go through their business a little bit, I'm a big believer in you have to be good in terms of positioning yourself in your business. But at the end of the day, if someone's ready to work with you, they're ready. And so if anybody wants to get in touch with me, I'm always answering emails.
Awesome. Well, again, it's always been a pleasure to see you grow and succeed. And I'm watching from afar, and I'm a fan. So thanks again for being on the show.
T, I appreciate you as well and all the things you're doing in the world. So it's absolutely my pleasure.
Oh, you're welcome. So there you have it for this edition of the show. We'll see you the next time.
Thanks for listening to The Authority Syndicate with T. Allen Haynes, the show for positioning yourself as the #1 authority in your industry, quickly turning your prospects into clients and raving fans. We'll see you next time on The Authority Syndicate. Thanks for listening to the T. Allen Haynes Radio Show with T. Allen Haynes. Conversations with elite business leaders from around the world. We will see you next time on the T. Allen Haynes Radio Show.